In this video, with the help of a special guest, we'll prepare a Week 16 cash and GPP lineup on the main slate for FanDuel. And it's all coming up next. Hello, everyone. I'm Eric Lee.
And I'm Michael Wiley, and we're the Fantasy Football Consultants. Eric, another big week, Christmas week. You and I could be playing each other if you don't get skipped up by Ben Skowronek tonight. Would be fun. I'm going to be rested off my bye. But real quick, we got to congratulate our winner from this week of the FanDuel contest, Medic 58. We had two winners, Rocky and Medic. We want to get you paid, so send us an email, and we will reach out to do the authentication process, and we will get you paid. So, Eric, anything you want to say about that?
No, just thank all the top commenters. That's why we did this free contest. We appreciate you supporting the channel. But you know what? I have some news, Michael. Both you and I are taking a little bit of much needed time off for the holidays. So we will not be having any coverage for week 17 or week 18, which is very funky, where a lot of players sit out. But we will be back for the playoffs. And we are bringing back, in previewing Wildcard Week, Subscriber Appreciation Week. So if you're like, hey, I wanted to get in on this free contest to challenge you guys, we will do that with a free contest for all our subscribers. So if you want to get in the contest, here's what you got to do. One, make sure you hit the red subscriber button and that you're a member, you're a subscriber. The second thing you need to do is, it's going to be a race, Michael, because there's only 18 spots to compete against you and I in FanDuel. I apologize. FanDuel only has 20 spots. That means if you get in, your odds of winning are really good. And it'll be a $50 prize. So this is what you need to do. Hit that notification button so you can catch the video right when it comes out. You're going to need to watch in the video. Somewhere we'll give you the details of how to enter the contest. All right, that's all next year. Let's talk about this year, Michael. We're going to break down Week 16 on FanDuel with a cash lineup and a GPP lineup, but we need a little bit of help. How about let's make Joe Green, viewer Joe Green, happy, who put in the comment section, Coleman did a great job. Have him back every week. Michael, we can't afford having this guy back every week. His price is too much. But welcome, Coleman, back to the show.
Thank you. And I promise Joe Green is not my burner account, so I appreciate my one fan.
That's awesome.
All right, so let's get into talking about the first player in our cash lineup on FanDuel on the main slate for Saturday. It is Derrick Henry. We got to get this guy in the lineup. There are simply no sure things in NFL DFS, but Derrick Henry at home facing the Houston Texans are pretty close to it. First of all, 7-point favorite, 24 implied total, and he goes up against the Houston Texans team that's dead last against the rush and dead last against running backs. Now, you might say, well, what's the history that Henry has in the past against Houston? Well, it's great. Earlier this year, he absolutely dominated them, having 219 yards and 2 TDs. But believe it or not, that was below the average of his performance over the last 4 games that Henry has faced Houston. 30 carries on average in 4 games, 223 yards, and more than 2 TDs a game. Guys, please criticize my old Henry pick.
Now, this is just what the doctor ordered for the Tennessee Titans, who are reeling a little bit, looking at the Jaguars over their shoulder. They really need to get a win this week, and they've got to guarantee it with the running game with Derrick Henry like they have in years past, like they did earlier this season against the Houston Texans team that's all of a sudden dangerous with what they should have done against the Cowboys and could have done against the Chiefs. This Houston Texans team is not to be trifled with. So Derrick Henry's going to have to come big. What do you think, Coleman?
Yeah, he's going to run all over the Texans. I mean, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get close to his average or even surpasses it this year. And so he's the safest pick. I mean, there's a reason he's $9,800 here on FanDuel, but he's the safest pick this week. You can count on him giving you 20 plus points for sure.
I'll just throw in the fact that this is half PPR, not full, but the fact that he's getting more involved in the passing game than he has in previous years is just icing on the cake. All right, so where are we going to go from here?
So we're gonna pair him with Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints going up against Cleveland, who actually hasn't been very tough against the run this year. Their defense looked pretty good this last week against Baltimore. But Alvin Kamara, who's disappointed all year long, he did get 91 yards on the ground on 21 carries, which helped them with their win over Atlanta. He did sneak into the end zone, which was a little bit of a bummer, but he's getting involved. He needs to get involved a little bit more in the passing game. It's going to be windy in Cleveland, so I don't think they're necessarily going to be able to throw the ball downfield a lot. That means they're going to be running to take advantage of the poor run defense. And let's get some dump offs to the guy who used to be one of the best pass catchers out of the league, minus C-Mac. So I think let's get Kamara, and he's still a bargain because he didn't go off this last week. I think we're going to like this pick. Let's get in the end zone, Alvin. What do you like at the wide receiver spot, Eric?
DJ Moore with Sam Darnold back in a dream matchup against the Detroit Lions, who really this year has not been able to stop anybody. But at the same time, that Detroit Lions offense has been scoring. So it's been great shootout potential. Now, I do realize that this is not in the dome, but I checked the Carolina forecast. The forecast is fine for the passing game there, clear. So I think that we don't have to worry about the weather. Here's the thing that you might be going, what happened in that Seattle game? He didn't catch a single pass. All he got was a couple of runs. Well, he did suffer an ankle injury in that game. And last week, he proved that he is healthy. So I'm really comfortable with him.
Yeah, with our next pick at wide receiver, we're going to head down to our man Darius Slayton.
There he is right there.
Yep. Playing the Vikings this week, who are absolutely atrocious against the passing game. And Darius Slayton, obviously, the Giants are the number one offense in the league, but they've done great this year, and he's averaging 7+ targets over the last 5 games. So he's relied upon by Daniel Jones, and he's going to get plenty of looks throughout this game. And the Vikings, I mean, you saw them against the Colts, who the Colts have one of the worst offenses in the league, and they let up 36 points against them, which included a couple of defensive touchdowns. But still, I think the Giants are going to have plenty of offense going for him, and Darius Slayton's going to be that number one guy at the receiver standpoint.
Yeah, he actually cooled off a little bit. He came on pretty strong earlier in the season, and I think that because of Minnesota's ability to score, including when they're down 33-0, I can't believe that game and never will believe that game. They're going to score points, and the Giants are going to, they're going to have to rely on more than just their defense. They're going to have to throw the ball a little bit.
And Slayton has had a murderous row the last 4 games of playing really, really tough defenses. Look more of what he's done in the 4 weeks before, where he's played defenses that are more like the Minnesota Vikings. So given the savings, I like this pick. Great job, Coleman.
So I'm going to save us even some more money because you guys aren't as good at bargain basement hunters as I am. I'm going to take advantage of my unfortunate.
All right. So I'm going to hang on a minute. I'm going down here. So who are you? Penny Hart?
Okay. Jeez, Louise. Okay. I'm at $5,800, please. Marquise Goodwin. With Lockett out, going up against a Kansas City team that tends to get ahead, and you have to throw the ball to stay in there. Geno Smith has been liking Marquise Goodwin. If you paid attention to the last couple games, even he was looking his way, targeting him and getting in the ball. And with Lockett out, of course, if we could afford Metcalf, we would go that route. He's really going to benefit this week. But Marquise Goodwin is going to benefit as well. He's going to be the number 2 this week for the Seattle Seahawks. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I'm a big Seahawk fan. I've watched a lot of their games, and they use 2 wide receiver sets a lot. So the fact that when Lockett is in, he was never in on those plays. He was always in, of course, on 3rd down when they go to 3 or 4 wide receiver sets. So yeah, this is a great pick for the price. and I love the game script.
So, Eric, let's go to the quarterback position next. And I'm going to go ahead and hand the baton over to our resident expert of quarterbacks, Coleman Wiley, my son here, who is all-league quarterback for his high school. Coleman, where do you want to go?
Well, as much as I wish we could go with Josh Allen there up at the top, he's going to have a killer week. We're going to have to go down a little bit, down to our resident Carolina Panther quarterback, Sam Darnold. He is going to have a great week this week. I mean, if you watched the game this last week against Pittsburgh, you saw he played really well, and they're still somehow fighting for that playoff spot over the Bucs. But they're playing the Lions this week, and the Lions are just about the worst defense in the league behind the Houston Texans. And so he's going to have a great week, especially since the Lions have been looking good on offense. So they're going to have to fight to stay in the game. And even if they somehow are behind, there's going to be a lot of passing situations for Sam Darnold this week. So I think he's a really good pick right here.
Yeah, he's been a disappointment in the NFL, to be sure. And so, some people are maybe scratching their heads. The Lions defense has actually picked it up against the run of late. They've looked pretty solid. And so you can't really attack them as well against the run as you can on the pass. So if Carolina wants to win this game, I guess who the best team in the league the last 6-7 games has been in terms of likelihood of getting a win? It's been the Detroit Lions. The Panthers need a win here. They're playing for the playoffs. And so Sam Darnold's going to have a big game. We already talked about DJ Moore. We can't afford to get Josh Allen. Some of these other quarterbacks that are a lot more expensive just don't have much more upside than Sam Darnold. This allows us to do other things. I like it.
All right, and that other thing will be moving to tight end. And at $6,000, we'll get in TJ Hawkinson. A lot of good things about Hawkinson that we always want to look for a tight end. He is a home favorite. He's in a dome, again, in a situation where we're getting into December. Perfect playing conditions for a passing game. 4-point favorite, as I said, a good 26 implied total. Now, ever since he came over from Detroit, he has been averaging over 8 targets a game in the last 7 games. And he passed Adam Thielen. He's the number 2 targeted guy in this offense. So I want to get TJ Hawkinson in. What are your guys' thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, this Minnesota Vikings team can score even when they're getting their butts kicked. Somehow they can come back from a deficit that nobody has ever come back for. And TJ Hawkinson's been a big part of that. Yeah, of course, Justin Jefferson, who comes to mind first, and you got Dalvin Cook. But Hawkinson is, even when he was on the Lions, was one of the best tight ends in the league. Got a lot of upside. Finally getting the targets that he needs. Didn't get as many receptions this last week, but he's still getting targeted. So, a lot of upside and a really nice floor.
If I have a complaint about Hawkinson is I would like him to get in the end zone more for the Minnesota Vikings. So I think that's coming. He was always a good red zone threat on Detroit. Now, I have a pivot for you. It's $400 more. I think Mark Andrews is a great price, assuming Lamar Jackson does play, and it is expected that he plays. He's a home favorite against the Atlanta Falcons, a terrible defense. And, he's been a disappointment, guys, this year for what we've seen in the past, but he has such a connection with Lamar Jackson. I think that it's hard to pass him up as really the number 1 targeted guy in the passing game for Baltimore.
Yeah, amazing to see him come down that much in price. Well, Eric, let's speed this along a little bit. Where do we want to go, Coleman, for the flex spot?
Yeah, we have a little bit of money saved up for our flex spot, and we're going to return to the running back position and go with Zeke here in the flex. I think Zeke's a great pick here. I mean, you look at his numbers the last 5 games, he's gotten in the end zone 6 times. And that should carry over this week as well. I mean, the Eagles defense is pretty good, but they're not the number 1. It's not like they're playing the Niners here. And the Cowboys would love a win here. They want to move up, especially with, the Eagles losing possibly Jalen Hurts this week. The Cowboys are going to have to rely on their offense to come alive. And Zeke's obviously the central part of it at the running back spot. So I think he's a great pick at our flex spot right here.
Yeah, no question in my mind that the Cowboys have saved Zeke up a little bit to pound him towards the end of the season when he can be more dangerous. The combination of him and Pollard's been huge. Here we are in a half PPR league where Zeke's value is even a little bit more there. So let's get another touchdown this week.
Yeah, and I like Tony Pollard as well, but he's $300 more, and we needed that $300 in order to secure a defense of any quality. So the defense that we're going to go with, guys,
is the New York Giants. And so if anyone watched the game last night against the Commanders, I still have a hard time saying their name. They saw Thibodeau, or however you say his name, and others just really disrupting things, and they looked pretty good. I was pretty impressed. Brian Daboll is he's kept this Giants team around. That was a big win last night against the Commanders, and the defense was a huge part of it. So do I love this pick? No, but they looked pretty good, and the other options are pretty bad. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I have no other comment on that. I'll just say that this is our cash lineup, and I will say that we're filming this before even Monday night's game because of our schedule. But here's our promise to you, is that if we have changes based on Monday night or the weather or injury situations, we will do an updated lineup in the comments section by Thursday. So if you're watching and it's already Thursday or Friday, then look down in the comment section. If it's before then, come back to the video. All right, we're going to take a look at GPP. All right, for GPP, you always want to have a stack, and we're going to attack one of the highest scoring games, Kansas City and Seattle. They are the second highest at 48.5 over under. We like Geno Smith, who actually leads the NFL in completions, to Marquise Goodwin, and running that back with Jerick McKinnon, who's heading huge over the last 2 weeks. One thing that's so great about this stack is it's a cheap stack, so we can spend money elsewhere. And some of the elsewhere is attacking the highest scoring game of the week, Tony Pollard, going and run it back the other way with Devontae Smith. That's Philadelphia and Dallas. They have a 51 over under. Both Pollard and Smith have shown they can have a very high ceiling. Two other guys I want to make sure I comment about is Drake London. He is the #1 pass catcher now in Atlanta with 11 and 12 sacks. Looks like he has a real rapport with his fellow rookie quarterback Ritter. And the other guy that I want to, against, by the way, Baltimore, who's a 25th ranked pass defense. And then Dalvin Cook, who is a home favorite in a dome, very high implied total. He is very eligible to have a ceiling game. And finally, the Carolina Panthers, who they're at home. They're a 3-point dog, not a huge dog, but for a relatively cheap defense, they're a punt defense. We don't have any Lions in this lineup, so it's not a case that we are, got negative correlation. And the Tennessee tight end is kind of a punt tight end for us against Houston. We have a situation that Tennessee's passing attack is so bad that he's actually one of the key members of that passing attack. And he faces a Houston team that defensively is just really bad. What are your guys' thoughts?
So if you look down the list here, you see these numbers of the opponent rank. They're really high numbers, and that's what you want to see in GPP. You want to have high potential. You also want to see some names that you've seen with high scoring in the past, and for the most part, that's what you got here. I like it, Eric. Great job.
If you missed it, Michael Coleman and I broke down the Saturday main slate for DraftKings. We'll put that video on the screen. And we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and whatever holiday that you celebrate with your friends and family. Take care, everyone.